Alrighty, what's up? And welcome to another episode of Biophilia.
Okay, let me
Yeah,
intro.
I know. I'm
Okay,
gonna let you do it.
okay. Okay, Chris today is going to talk about, I think, our state fish.
God, why you gotta give it away? Like, that's one of my facts.
I'm like so excited though because I love
Well,
this
actually, you're
fish.
partly wrong about that. I'll get more into that later.
Okay. Well, I'm so excited. Chris has a good little fishy to talk about today. Super exciting, super cool. Take it away.
All right, so today I will be talking about the Garibaldi,
Woohoo!
also known as the Catalina goldfish, marine goldfish.
Wait, it's a goldfish? Okay, sorry.
Oh my God, 1 second. I can't even get through the fucking names. And Garibaldi damselfish. So those are its three nicknames. I don't like those. I just like the Garibaldi. Or
Good.
Garibaldi.
Classic.
Do you know why it's called the Garibaldi?
Because it looks like a bald man with a head.
Interesting, kind of, but no.
Because if you look at
No,
it,
it has a big ass forehead.
it
I'll
has
get
a
it. No,
huge
trust me.
forehead.
Trust me.
Big old brain.
I'm going to get the scientific name. It talks about that. I'll get into that.
That's so funny.
So, Garibaldi is based on an Italian surname and is reference to the Italian general and political figure Giuseppe Garibaldi, whose followers often wore a characteristic scarlet or red shirt.
Interesting.
So I'm going to talk about Giuseppe Garibaldi for a second. So his name
Okay.
is Giuseppe Maria Garibaldi. He was born on
He's French? What do you say?
Italian.
No. Okay.
He was born on 4th of July, 1807, very American of him, and died on the 2nd of June, 1882. He was an Italian general, revolutionary, and Republican. He contributed to the Italian unification and the creation of the Kingdom of Italy.
That's cool.
So the main reason why he's so famous is because of the Expedition of the Thousand was an event of the unification of Italy that took place in 1860, where he led a group of volunteers, and they sailed from Quarto al Mare near Genoa and landed in Marsala, Sicily, in order to conquer the kingdom of the Two Sicilies, ruled by the Spanish house of Bourbon Two Sicilies. This is all thanks to Wikipedia, by the way.
Okay.
The expedition was a success and concluded with a vote that brought Naples and Sicily into the kingdom of Piedmont, Sardinia, the last territorial conquest before the proclamation of the Kingdom of Italy in the 17th of March, 1861. So he was a big character in like the unification of Italy, pretty much.
Wow. Interesting. Okay, well, how does that connect to California?
Dog, I told you why they called him the Garibaldi, because of the red shorts the people wore.
Okay, I don't feel like they're red.
They're orangey red. More orange than anything, I would agree.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so its scientific name, this one is a tough one. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh no, I hate when you do this.
Okay, I want to spell out the first word.
No.
Hypsypops.
Holy shit.
Hy- Hypsiopops.
Can I say that I feel that the first letter is maybe silent?
Yipsiopops. The second letter's a Y.
Okay.
So Hypsiopops. And then the second word is Rubicundus. Rubicundus. So I'm going to break it down. So the first word, hypsy, or hypsi, refers to in meaning high or elevated.
Mm-hmm.
The second half of the word, pops. This is from Greek, by the way, meaning face or appearance. So hypsiopops can be interpreted as something like high face or elevated appearance.
Makes sense.
Yes, exactly.
Both, actually.
Yes.
If you think about it, because it's like very vibrant and also that big bulbous head.
Here's the second part.
Okay.
The second part, rubicundus, is Latin for reddish or rosy. So it translates.
Why do they keep saying reddish?
I don't know. Maybe
they originally kind of started off more red and they kind of
maybe they just didn't know what orange was back then.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. They probably knew what orange was. I hope.
Or I mean, I guess color is like kind of like interpretive, right? It's whatever you see.
It's a spectrum.
Yeah, exactly. Are you colorblind? I thought you were.
No.
No. No?
No.
Not at all?
No.
Even a little bit?
No.
Okay.
And so this overall, the whole word kind of translates to reddish high face or rosy elevated appearance.
Cool.
So
Spot on.
again, pretty spot on.
I love these Greek names. It's kind of fun. It's like very descriptive.
right? I mean,
Hmm.
that's kind of their job.
It is, but I mean, sometimes there's just animals that are like,
You know what hippopotamus means in Latin?
what?
River horse. Yeah.
It should not be river horse. It should be like
No.
river cow or something.
That's fair.
River cow.
No. Okay, so it is part of the family
hate this.
Centridae. It's okay, whatever. I just want to say the family name. Okay.
Okay, say it again because I interrupted you.
Poma Centridae, that sounds better, is a family of ray-finned fish. It is made up of damselfish and clownfish. They are small, brightly colored, and are one of
That's the family.
Yes, that's the family.
Wow.
What do you mean, wow?
I'm just a little bit shocked because I feel like those are small on the smaller fish side.
Let me get to that. Here we go. They are small, brightly colored, and are one of the most abundant and widely studied families of tropical reef fish. They are popular aquarium fish. The family consists of approximately 28 genera and 335 species.
Whoa.
They are mostly found on coral reefs, with more than 140 species occurring in Australian waters. So, the Garibaldi is the biggest member of the family.
Oh, wow.
It's the biggest damselfish. It's the biggest clownfish of that family. It's the biggest thing. This makes me think, is it the biggest because it lives in cold water?
How does that correlate?
I think a lot of animals kind of grow in size when it's cold because they move less.
I don't know if that's true.
Like the Greenland shark can be like 20 feet because it's really cold.
Because it's really cold, or that just is a coincidental
I think there's
correlation,
no,
but not causation.
I think there is a correlation between size and temperature. I don't remember exactly, but I just thought it was interesting that
Okay, then what about the gray whale?
it's fucking massive.
That goes everywhere, though.
Yes, but that's migration.
Yes, but
I don't know. I'm gonna skip past this point.
yeah,
But I thought it was interesting that this is the biggest thing in its family,
that is interesting.
and it's the only species in its genus.
Did you know I had a goldfish? Do you remember Finn?
I remember some of the fishes you had.
Remember you had to break in my window to go feed him?
I had to break. That was Finn that I had to break into.
That was Finn.
Okay, I remember breaking into your house.
Yeah, I was on, I think, like spring break or winter break in college, and I needed to feed my fish, and Chris had to break in my window because I didn't have any keys.
Yes.
And so he just literally crawled through the window to feed my fish, Finn,
Yes.
who was a fancy goldfish, if anybody knows, or also known as a moor goldfish. They're those one with the big bulbous eyes.
What'd you do with him? Did he die?
Yeah.
That's sad.
This was my baby I think I had Finn for 3+ years, and I got him from PetSmart. The lady dropped him in the bag when I got him.
Nice.
I was so triggered. And then I took him home and we bonded so hard. He was a post-breakup fish for me. So
Oh God.
I had him next to my bed and I would talk to him. He was trained every time if he wanted to be fed, he had to come swim to my finger, touch his nose to my finger, like through the glass, and then I'd give him food. He was so smart. He would play
the thing
games.
about goldfish, right?
What?
That they have a 3-second memory.
That's false, actually.
It is?
Fake fact.
Okay.
Yeah, it is. And Finn was the smartest, okay? And then, so anyways, yeah, but then I got him a friend because at one point I thought he was lonely, and her name was Callie, also a fancy goldfish. Anyways, she got sick like a year and a half into me having her, and then she killed Finn.
Did she have the itch?
The ick?
Ick.
He had the ick a few times, but I saved him.
Wow.
I saved him twice from the ick.
That's pretty good.
Oh my gosh. I was like, the first time he had it, I feel like you were around, but I had an entire mental breakdown. Like, I was so ill. But yeah, I saved him from it twice. No, she got this crazy like infection in her eye. And then like her eye was filling up with blood, and I saved her and I isolated them into 2 separate tanks and whatever. But I think all of that together, he was too old.
Too stressed.
And he was too stressed. And then I came home from a trip and he was dead. And I had a whole memorial.
R.I.P. Finn.
I had a whole memorial.
I do remember that.
With speeches.
Yes, I do remember
and
that.
candlelight. And I made him a grave. Oh, I was so sad.
I do remember that. I do remember seeing pictures of that.
Mm-hmm. Anyways, R.I.P. Finn. Love you.
Great name, though.
Thank you.
So, to get back to the Garibaldi.
Yeah. long sidebar.
Its residence. It is found in temperate waters off the California coast from Monterey Bay all the way down to northern Baja. And it includes the Channel Islands and then also islands in Mexico, like Guadalupe.
And Catalina.
And Catalina, yes. All the islands kind of in that area, like off the coast of California. The biology is what we're going to jump into now. A round, plump fish with yellow eyes and the eyes are what you're saying, the iris.
Mm-hmm.
So the iris is yellow, and they're very gold, like orange colored, and that's kind of.
I would say they're like, think of a vibrant neon orange with a tinge of red. I
I'll say
feel.
they kind of look like life jackets.
Mm-hmm. I'd agree.
I thought one time I was fishing and I thought it was a life jacket in the water. It was a Garibaldi. Their caudal fin is deeply notched and has huge upper and lower lobes. They have a small mouth, large lips, and a really big, like sloping head, which kind of refers to
Forehead.
his name. The juveniles are a little bit more red and have these blue spots on their body, and there's like a blue outline on like their like upper mid back area.
Mm-hmm.
And then eventually they grow out of that. They grow out of this blotchy appearance when they're about 2 inches long. And then when they're about 6 inches long is when they look completely like the adult sized Garibaldis.
What age?
Huh?
What age is that?
And I don't know the age. I'm just looking at the size.
Mm-hmm.
And this is information from the Aquarium of the Pacific.
Cool.
So the size of these things, they can reach a length of 14 inches, but most grown individuals are around 12.
Mm-hmm.
They can live up to 17 years, but their lifespan is usually 12-ish years.
That's long.
Yeah, it's pretty long for a fish. Their habitat, in contrast to damsel fish that are generally in tropical reefs and kind of hanging out with coral and stuff like that,
Mm-hmm.
these guys, like I was saying earlier, live in cooler waters off the coast of California. They can go down to 100 feet, but they generally stay in more like shallowy subtidal regions.
Yeah.
And they hang out in kelp forests. They are big fans of kelp forests. And I'll talk about how that plays into their reproduction. Garibaldi becomes sexually mature at the age of 5,
Mm-hmm.
6 years old, when they're about 8 or 9 inches long. So, in contrast to a lot of other animals, the male is the nest builder.
Wow.
So the male will go around kind of on the rock reef, and he'll look.
Wait,
Yes.
in the rock reef or in the kelp forest? I thought you said it was important that they were in the kelp forest for reproduction.
Yes. Do you know what kelps grow on?
The ground.
Rock reefs.
Only exclusively?
No, but that's a general place.
Because I thought they could have holds in like mucky water
They can.
or anywhere.
But generally, kelp forests are on rock reefs or some sort of rock substrate.
Because they need to grip onto it.
So the males are the nest builders and the caregivers in the early life. And so they go around and they'll find kind of this territory that's about 10 to 15 square feet. And they have to have these certain red algae in their area to make sure that it's like okay for them. I don't know. These red algae plays like some sort of crucial role for them. And he always like grooms and cleans the area, make sure it's super pretty. And then about a month after they are done grooming and kind of getting the thing happens, the spawning season is from March through July. And over this period, multiple spawning cycles can occur. The male fish will kind of chase after these female fish and like clack really loud with their throat teeth.
Throat teeth?
Throat teeth. Teeth. With their throat teeth. So they have these teeth in their throat that can kind of make like a, I don't know, some sort of clucking sound.
Mm-hmm. That's so interesting.
Yeah, and the females are very selective though.
With the sound?
No, with the males. So they'll go and visit like 15 different nests before she picks who she wants.
Love it.
And then, so the guy will chase after her. The guy, if she likes the clucking, she will then follow the male back to his area, and she'll deposit anywhere from 15,000 to 80,000 bright yellow eggs.
Whoa.
And then the male immediately fertilizes the eggs.
Yeah.
And chases the female off. Says, "Get the fuck out of here."
Okay, so he's doing all this work to like get her in the nest, and then he's like, "Okay, give me your eggs," and then leave.
Leave, because the female will sometimes start eating the eggs.
Tea.
Because I don't know why, but that's also another thing they can't really figure out is like, why do the females eat it? Don't exactly know. And so the male will continue to kind of groom the area, make sure everything's nice. And what's interesting is if you have more eggs in your nest, more females want to lay their eggs in that nest also. But your eggs have
So is there like an alpha male in this situation where like
kind of
one has the best clack, it gets the first female with the eggs, chases her off, and then it's like he's a top house because he has the most eggs already, he had the best clack, and now
he's kind of just the top dog. Yes.
Yeah, because it kind of stays once you start on top, you kind of stay on top of it.
Yeah.
It's dependent on other eggs.
It's a positive cycle.
Positive feedback loop.
Positive feedback loop. That's what it's called. Yeah. But here's the interesting part. the eggs have to look fresh for the females to want to lay more.
Interesting.
So let's just say some of the eggs are 3 days in and you're still trying to get more females. You have to eat.
What's the incubation period? You have to eat?
Hold up. Well, you cut me off right when I was going to get to the good part. Oh, 2 to 3 weeks is the incubation period.
Okay, so yeah, 3 days is like a long time in that
So,
because
yeah.
that's a short incubation.
Yeah, so about 3 days in, the eggs start to change colors, and if he's still looking for more females to deposit more eggs, he'll eat those eggs
Oh my God.
in the chance that more females will lay more.
Yeah, it's like a bet.
Exactly. He's betting on his odds. So that's kind of cool.
That is cool.
He'll eat the eggs if they are not,
They don't look as fresh.
if they don't look as fresh, exactly.
For more opportunity.
And so he'll just kind of keep on going around and around. It's just this cycle where he'll kind of see if he can get more females to lay more eggs or if he has to eat his eggs. And so it's just kind of this bet, like we were saying, which I thought was pretty interesting, that he actually has to gamble on how many children or how many eggs he's going to have in his nest.
Yeah, it's kind of like, yeah, what are the odds? Like, if I eat these, will I get more or will I not get any more? And then I'm eating the one, like, which is, yeah, that's interesting.
And the eggs hatch at night, usually in the first 2 hours after sunset, and the larvae disperse into the planktonic population. The heaviest larval population is in Southern California waters, primarily within 30 miles of the shore. Young Garibaldi are found in the shallows in late summer and fall. So, like I said, this all happens kind of through March through July, and then by like probably September is when you'll start seeing small Garibaldi swimming towards the shores.
Wow.
And so these guys are extremely territorial. I did not know this. Garibaldis are extremely territorial. Let's just say they generally are pretty good at actually differentiating what's their territory and what's not. Like it'll be like a drop off in a rock or something, and they really know that's their area. The other ones aren't. So two fish can be swimming next to each other, 2 feet apart, but they're in their own territories. If one of them jumps into the other person's territory, it's a fight immediately.
Whoa.
Like they are aggressive.
Wait, I have a question then. Because, well, I have a few things to say, but I'll keep it short this time. So, when I just recently went to Catalina Island, I saw a bunch of Garibaldi, and they were kind of like sitting still where the ferry, right next to where the ferry was docking, and they were just still. It almost
Were they
like,
towards the surface?
yes.
Okay, so here we go.
And they didn't seem territorial,
No.
but they were so high in volume.
Yes,
and I'm
yes,
like, what is going on? And they looked fake. I was like, are these staged fake Garibaldi right here to like excite me, or is this real?
No, so it also could have been a couple different things. It could have been juveniles.
Hmm.
Because juveniles, they don't care.
And you know what I think it was? Because now that I'm learning that they're more reddish, I think it was.
Okay, I was going to say juveniles, the males don't care about juveniles. They can go in and out of territories.
Mm-hmm.
Also, there's this weird phenomenon. They don't understand why. Sometimes a bunch of Garibaldis meet at the surface.
That's what was happening.
They think it's about some sort of communication or something, and they don't become territorial in that moment. They don't know why.
There was a bunch right at the surface.
Yeah, I don't know. That's one of the things.
Just kind of frozen there.
That's what they're talking about. They said sometimes they'll be up at the surface, kind of just hanging out, and there's no territorial like anger about that.
Interesting.
But yeah, males vigorously defend their territory. The juveniles are not perceived as a threat. And of course, attack may be accompanied by their clacking noise, their little throat teeth.
That's crazy.
So
if I heard a fish clacking at me, I'd be like, what the hell?
I feel like a lot of fish clack. A lot of fish have these throat teeth.
Really?
Yeah.
How come when you're like snorkeling, you don't hear it?
You never hear the...
Wait,
I'm
maybe
not sure if the mic can pick that up.
Maybe you do.
Yeah, when you're underwater and you're...
Wait, you definitely hear crackling sounds. Yeah. But is that fish? I always thought that was just...
It can be a lot. The underwater is actually pretty noisy.
It kind of is, actually.
Especially on a healthy coral reef, it's really...
I was thinking that. I was going to say, I feel like coral makes sound, right?
No. The animals in the coral reefs make sound.
Because I would always hear like crackling.
Yeah, it's just all the different animals. It's actually pretty loud underwater.
Okay.
What do you think these guys eat?
Smaller fish?
No.
Kelp?
No.
I don't know.
So, they feed during the day on a diet of primarily bottom-dwelling invertebrates.
Really?
Including...
Wait, what? Because I wouldn't think that because they don't even like to be on the bottom, really. I feel.
Well, subtitle bottom is like, what, 30, 40
yeah,
feet?
Who cares? Yeah.
So they eat worms, small anemones,
whoa,
sponges, bryozoans, crabs, shrimps, small shellfish, and sea stars.
That's cool.
And then, of course, like I was saying, they'll also eat the eggs.
That's really cool, actually.
And people sometimes think their diet of sponges may contribute to their very bright colors.
I thought, Where sea sponges a bright color?
Yes,
Like what?
orange.
Oh yeah, huh? Oh
Yeah,
yeah. I know what you're talking about.
yeah. Because you know how like when flamingos eat shrimp,
And then
they
I
turn
wonder if
pink.
there's those rosy colored anemones.
Oh yeah,
And I wonder if that contributes too.
yeah. I don't know exactly all that, but I didn't think they would eat those sort of invertebrates.
No, I'm actually
Sea
shocked.
stars was the one that really threw me off. I was like, these things eat sea stars?
How? How is it ripping it off the
What do you mean? It's got
wow?
teeth.
But tiny teeth,
Yeah, still can get in there.
I guess. That's crazy. Yeah, I would not have guessed that for that fish, honestly.
Yeah, so that was kind of bizarre. Was not really expecting that. What do you think eats them?
Anything. They seem like easy targets, honestly. Do they have are they poisonous because they're bright colored?
No,
Hmm. So what's their defense? Nothing?
they're territorial aggressiveness, I guess. Also, they
Um,
hide in the kelp forest, so they're kind of hide, but then again, they're like the most bright fish out there.
right.
So
So what are they gonna
yeah,
do?
I don't really know what their defense
Maybe
is.
sharks and stuff?
Yes, so they have.
Leopard sharks?
I don't know about leopard sharks, but
There's a
so
lot of leopard sharks. I'm just thinking about Catalina specifically. But...
yeah. Well, here we go. I got an interesting fact for you. So several of their natural predators include larger sharks, larger fish, seals, sea lions, and on Santa Catalina Island, bald eagles are also one of their predators.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Bald eagles?
Yeah.
Wait, Santa Catalina or Santa Cruz?
Santa Catalina.
Is that Catalina Island?
Okay, it is just Catalina Island. But I guess Catalina Island is called Santa Catalina. Like that's its actual name.
The legal name.
Yeah, the legal name. Bald eagles are fucking up Garibaldis.
That's crazy. I mean, it kind of makes sense. And on a,
I mean, they're definitely a target from above. If I was
totally
swimming, I would be like,
it's a bright target,
yeah.
bright bullseye target. Hello.
And so another thing I wanted to look at was, is this thing endangered at all? Like, what is its?
No,
Jesus. Because you know you can't fish these things, right?
I didn't know they're protected.
Yeah, you cannot catch a Garibaldi
Why?
because of in 1953, the Garibaldi fish was made illegal to remove in California. It is protected due to its popularity as a saltwater aquarium fish.
So for human pleasure, it's protected.
Yes, pretty much. But in 2007 was when it was most recently assessed in the IUCN Red List of Threatened Species, and the Garibaldi is currently listed as least concern.
Yeah, the population has definitely been on an incline. Did you know in the 6th grade, I went to Catalina Island, and that was the first time I saw a Garibaldi.
I have a similar story.
What?
I was a sophomore in high school,
Uh-huh.
and I did a 3-night
Me
on a
too.
boat trip
Me too.
to Catalina Island,
Me too.
and that's where I saw a Garibaldi also.
Me too.
I remember we were like doing like we would do a swim, and you had like your little marker with a board, and you would see how many things you could like mark down.
Yep.
And I was like one of the better swimmers, and so the guy let me have a weight belt.
Bruh, I was in like the last swim group.
Yeah. And so I was like diving down there and checking it out.
That's so cool. Did you do the long division thing?
The what?
You never heard of this? So like at that camp where those people, like I think we went to the same camp, I assume.
No.
It was like See Me.
I don't know what the fuck it was.
Anyways, I did the same thing. It was like 3 days, or I think I was like a week or something. But I was in Catalina Island. I took the boat there, whatever. It was at this camp with my class in the 6th grade. And like they had all these cool activities, whatever, but one of them, it was so weird. It was like this this has nothing to do with anything, but it was like this black, dark maze where all the lights were off and you were like crawling this tiny crawl space and like the floor would fall out of under you and like there's all these turns and like all of your whole
On your
class was
boat?
like, no, on Catalina Island.
Oh, what the heck?
Some weird maze and it was pitch black and you were just like a kid crawling around this crawl space that you just had no idea. And it was so scary. And then they were like, it's called long division, like this maze. Like, and whenever you go back to school, like you guys could talk about it, but call it long division.
That sounds like the introduction to a cult.
I know, it's so weird.
Okay, that's really weird.
I was telling my dad about this and because I knew you were talking about Garibaldi's and I was telling him this. He's like, you never told me that. That is so scary.
Yeah, that's kind of psycho. All right.
Anyways.
Anyway, to get back on track. So you were somewhat right. The Garibaldi is not the California state fish. It is the California state marine fish.
Because there's freshwater and
Yes.
saltwater?
So the California freshwater state fish is the California golden trout.
Oh.
And the California gray whale is the official state marine mammal of California.
That's cool.
Yeah. So that's a little
Have
interesting
you seen
fact.
a gray whale?
I don't know how to differentiate whales, but
What?
what do you mean? I'm not a whale nerd. Now I have some recent research about the Garibaldi. So this article is called Spatial and Habitat Variation and Life History of the Garibaldi, including validation of annual growth increments. This is done by the faculty of California State Polytechnic University, Pomona, and this was written by Chelsea Munez Williams in 2021.
Cool.
So the Garibaldi were collected from 12 locations throughout Baja California and pretty much the California coast, including 5 mainland locations, 5 Channel Islands, and 2 islands off the west coast of Baja California. They paired the natural and artificial reef habitats with each mainland location were sampled. So pretty much they grabbed artificial reef locations in all those different areas, and they grabbed natural reef. So like an artificial reef would be like a harbor.
So they're doing a study on like the differences in what's gonna sustain the population. Is that
what their size is and growth and stuff like that. If they are bigger at a natural reef versus an artificial reef.
Oh.
Or something like that.
Okay.
And so the way they did this is they looked at otolith-based aging and biological data from these populations.
Mm-hmm. What's otolith?
It's a bone inside of a fish. It's one of the ways you can identify a fish's age.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Interesting. Do you know where it is?
I think it's somewhere in the head. Not gonna
Cool.
lie. Yeah. Cool. That's how a lot of people do a lot of science with fish is they look at the otoliths. And so the Garibaldi were found to grow larger on artificial reefs when compared to natural reefs. Yes. But tend to live longer on natural reefs. So regionally, growth and longevity patterns followed mean annual sea surface temperature gradients.
Wait, say that again.
So regionally, growth and longevity patterns followed mean annual sea surface temperature gradients, supporting the hypothesis.
Can you explain that? I was not understanding.
Oh, I thought you just want me to slow it down. No. So what it means is just like.
Well, I did want you to slow it down, but then now
at the top of the surface of the water,
yeah.
What temperature is it there compared to somewhere else? The gradient along the coastline.
And they're looking at what with that?
They're saying if certain temperatures relate to a larger fish or something like that.
Was that what you were saying that thing
so
earlier?
Here we go. So according to this, Garibaldi will be larger and longer lived in cooler locations than in warmer locations. Males grew larger than females in all populations, which is uncharacteristic for both damselfish and other fish from this area. And the Garibaldis collected for this study had a maximum. This was ridiculous. You know how I was saying earlier they could only live for 17 years.
Yeah.
Apparently, they found the Garibaldi that they collected was 57 years old.
What?
57,
what?
Which makes it the longest lived of any damselfish by 2 decades.
What?
Yeah.
And they just happen to find that one.
Well, I don't. This is recent research. Maybe that the other one that I was talking about earlier is maybe a little bit more dated. Whoa. So I found that was very interesting.
Wow. 57 is a huge gap between. Yeah. Oh, wow.
And so they looked at the sagittal otoliths, the largest of the 3 pairs of otoliths present.
Okay, so then, wait, sagittal. That has to be in the head, right?
Yeah.
Your sagittal crest or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. It's in the head. Yeah. And the only pair known to display annual increments to their lifetime of a fish. So like each year you could see it was like a tree ring.
Yeah.
Like it grows. And these were photographed and measured along the longest axis using ImageJ software. You know what I used ImageJ for?
Your coral.
For my coral. So I have some experience with ImageJ. Pretty cool. What's it called? Software.
Software to measure growth patterns.
You can you can use it to measure photos pretty much.
Down to tiny
down
increments.
To pixels.
Yeah. Cool.
So then I also have a second article called Garibaldi from Artificial Reefs in Cooler Islands. Natural reefs consume more animal material, which is associated with greater adult size and body condition. So this was in 2024, so even more recent. And this was also written by the last lady and this other person. Oh, I forget her name. I forget the other lady's name, but there's these 2 people that are kind of like the head of this field right now. And so they were looking at the populations, the diet populations from warmer islands and mainland natural reefs. So the natural mainland reefs, warmer areas, had a high proportion of algae, while the diet of populations from cooler island natural reefs and mainland artificial reefs had higher proportions of animal content. So in the cooler areas, they're eating more animals. In the warmer areas, they're eating more algae. So more animal material, and the diet was positively associated with higher body conditions in both sexes, larger adult average length, and higher initial growth rates.
That's cool.
Yeah. So overall, averaged across all the locations, the diet comprised of 62% animal material and 38% algae. The most common diet categories were fleshy red algae, polychaete worms was 17%, anemones were 13%, sponge fragments were 12%, and then another 25% was just like bryozoans and stuff like that.
Whoa. Interesting. That's crazy.
Yeah. And that's what I got for the Garibaldi.
Let me think if I have any questions. So the coloring is thought to be possibly because of sea sponge diet, and also, is there any other contributing factors or like
No.
ideas of why they're so bright?
I mean, all the
Because
other
you would
dam
think
fish in the coral reefs are also very bright.
and a lot are orange.
Yeah.
If you think of a typical goldfish, which is part of that same family, it's gold.
It's
And
great,
then if you
yeah.
think of like Nemo, gold, orange and white.
Yeah.
Huh. I wonder what that like.
Correlation is.
Yeah.
I wonder if orange loses its color pretty quick underwater because it has that red in it. And I think under 30 feet, red is gone.
Huh. Is that true?
Yeah, we did the wavelengths. That's why when you go deeper and deeper in the water, you don't see light or you don't see color.
That's crazy. Very interesting. Is there any Garibaldi attacks on humans that you read about?
Attacks?
Attacks. Because you just said they have teeth and they're aggressive. Like,
yeah.
what if you swim into their zone?
I haven't heard of any Garibaldi attacks, but I wouldn't be surprised.
We've both, I think, been snorkeling out there, and I've never been attacked.
Yeah, I've never been attacked either. But also, like I said, they have very strict territories. So, like, if you don't actually,
come up on them,
like directly into their territory, they're not going to fight you. Like, you can be 2 feet from it, and they're not going to fight you. It's the moment you break that barrier.
Whatever their imaginary barrier.
Yeah, whatever the imagination barrier is.
That's cool. And then no family dynamics, and then once the larvae are hatched, it's just every man for themselves.
Yeah, but there's 15 to 80,000 eggs laid per female.
So even if the survival rate is low, it's fine.
They're chilling, yeah.
And then
can't be harvested.
So they still can't.
No.
They're still protected.
They're still under protection. Yep.
Even though the population is so rebounded, though they're everywhere.
Yeah, but maybe that's a good thing. Maybe that's just
no, it totally is. But I'm just like shocked because I feel like once something revives, people kind of take off.
Yeah, but it's also our state fish now, so I feel like it's harder for them to try and flip that.
Okay, I feel content.
Sweet.
Thanks, Chris.
Of course.
Okay, we'll see you guys next time. Thanks so much for listening.
Yeah, thanks for listening. Drop a 5-star review, please. And we'll see you guys next week.
Woohoo! Bye.
Bye.